Hello and welcome to my cake kitchen. My name is Gladys, and over here I make simple, informative tutorials to help you navigate cake decorating easily. I also create baking tutorials live where we undertake a particular bake with an objective in mind, or a goal, or a problem we want to solve. We get through the process talking through ingredient selection techniques and even intentions surrounding the selection of ingredients, how the ingredients interact with each other. We take a bake, we come back, we assess the bake, whether it's in line with our goals. And in a recent series, what I've done is I have tried to determine a delicate structured cake from using different sorts of ingredients, i.e. the flour. I had started with the simple intention surrounding that was a couple that came to taste their cakes as part of their wedding cake consultation. They loved their cake, but they wanted a different kind of texture. They suggested they wanted the texture to be a little more lighter than they had. So I thought that was a great opportunity to try something else. So I started by taking the original recipe, testing it with different sorts of flour combinations. We started with cake flour and Aldi self-raising flour. We did cake flour and McDougall's flour. We did McDougall's by itself because as the series developed, I had further questions from people who couldn't access cake flour or had a reason not to use cake flour. So in our immediate life, what we did was we undertook the same bake, except we are using cake flour completely. The good thing about these lives is that I do not know what the result is. What I know is the information I have from the recipe I developed, formulated, and adapted myself. But this recent testing, I had no idea. So I get to undertake the process with you live on camera, and then we get to see whether we have a great bake or we don't. Thankfully, we've had a consistently great bakes up until the last one, which was the McDougall's. We had a bit of a sink in there, but it wasn't like a bad bake. So all of those information I will link down in the description box. But if you're chancing onto this particular live video, we are here to see the result of the bake we undertook in an immediate live, which was about 20 minutes ago. So in the 20 minutes, we thought to manage time, we went off on a break, for which I was able to undertake the washing up and complete a few other tasks and get myself reset. And the cake has still since been baking. The bake went into the oven at exactly 12:23 GMT, which is 12:23 UK time. So we were expecting the bake. Is it 12:23? So we were expecting the bake to be done by 12:24, and that is because in our previous bakes the bakes has been completed within the 1 hour time limit. However, I'm just anticipating, because we're back on this live, the time is exactly 1:34, so we're a minute over the bake time, but the suggested time is on a time scale which is 55 minutes on the minimum end of the time scale and 1 hour 15 minutes. So we are not all the way out of time. The good thing was that I haven't been able to check, because you can't open the oven when the bake is happening. I did not want to influence that. So what we are going to see with our cake is exactly what is happening live in real time. Before we get our cake out, in our previous live, which is still up for you to check, we also tried to make some cupcake batter. So when our cake comes out of the oven, we'll just shove the cupcake batter in. We won't worry about the cupcake too much. It's about 18 to 20 minutes. So within the time we are engaging over here, if we're able to see the cupcake and cupcakes done, great. If we don't wait for that, that too is okay. So it's exactly 1:25, and our bake went in exactly 12:23. So we are an hour and 2 minutes in, and we're going to check. I'm a little bit nervous, and I'll tell you why. And it's because, like I said, I never know what is in there for us to see. So if it comes out and it's flopped, well, that's something to learn from. But I'd rather we don't have that. But over here, we are loud and proud about our mistakes, because baking is not always as perfect as we would like you to see. So let's just check our bake and see what the surprise is. And just in case you missed all that I said, we baked with cake flour. It's the Snowflake brand of cake flour alone, with nothing else. The important thing to note here is that cake flour has less protein, which means it develops less gluten, which means you are guaranteed to have a more delicate and lighter textured crumb to your cake if you use cake flour. In the UK, cake flour is expensive, and the type of bleached cake flour that is used in America is banned from here. You can get unbleached cake flour, but it's also expensive. For £6 per 1 kilogram, that's a lot. So if you're running a bakery with so much to bake, it's a huge investment. So I understand why most UK bakers do not care for cake flour, but that is what we have used here. So let's go check what is there. But if you're just coming into the chat, hello there, it's a pleasure to have you. And we have 10, right. So if I said I was going to engage here, we'll end up overrunning the time. So let's get our bake back and then I'll talk to you. Right, so our cake has baked. I must admit I was a little bit nervous, but you know what they say, put a skewer in your bake if it comes out clean. There's a school of thought that says if it comes out too clean with no crumb or excess on there, then your cake is overbaked or something like that. But that is neither here nor there. So just to recap a few of the details, if you went here on the previous live, the ingredients for the bake was exactly the same as previous ones because we were keeping the variables the same. The intention was to optimize for a delicate, light textured crumb. So our first one was Aldi brand of self-raising flour mixed into some parts of cake flour. We had a great bake. Then the next one was Aldi McDougall's brand of self-raising flour mixed with cake flour. That was great too. Then we came back with just McDougall's brand. That was okay. Now we're doing cake flour exclusively. So with the ingredients and everything done, we got this baking at 160 degrees C in a fan assisted oven, and this has been in there for an hour 3 minutes. So the only difference is the 3 minutes. The other ones have baked an hour. I never saw the bake, didn't know what we will see. So we are seeing this for the first time, and this is what it looks like on the inside. So it has baked fairly evenly, if you like. The ingredient listing, measurements, and everything I will leave in the description box for you to see. So that is the top. Don't forget, this bakes 4-inch deep. It is baked 4-inch deep, so it rises. And we also have the lip of the liner. So the tin itself is 4 inches deep, but let's see how 5.5. So let's say it's risen 5 inches high, which is kind of a good result. So if you're new here, that's what the bake looks like on the inside. It is very soft. It springs back up at you. I'll leave the details in the description box for the ingredient selection. But whilst we're undertaking all of this, the cupcakes have gone in. The cupcakes should bake for about 20 minutes whilst we're still doing all of this. So I am just going to World Tours. Hello, World Tours. I am fine, thank you. And you? Now, we are just going to get this out. And whilst we're at it, ta-da! Now, oh wow. It is such a soft textured, delicate bake on the outside. Wow, that is really soft. That's baking with just cake flour. It is so soft, it springs back at you. The other ones, the crust have been soft and light. The crust here is equally soft. Let's look at the bottom. There's a bit of tension on the side of the bottom, but otherwise it's fine. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut into the cake. Now don't forget that this is a very warm cake, so what we see here will not be the same as if we had left the cake to set, but we've cut the cake warm in our previous post. So let's get into the crumb so we can see what it looks like. Okay, it is super light. Did I tell you I have a problem with self-raising flour, with adding leavening to my cake? The color of it makes me very concerned. So I'm going to taste. Okay, that's the bottom part. The color of it makes me a little bit concerned, but I'll come to that in a moment. Now we have the mid section, which I am attempting to cut now. Mind you, this is really delicate, so wow. Okay, it is still delicate. It almost yields the same look as the McDougal's. You want to have a look at that video, which I will link in the description box. It is the video before the last one. So yeah, I am not particularly pleased with the color on the outside layer going to the crust bit. I feel like the flavor is slightly compromised compared to the other flavors that we baked, because even though the ingredients and flavoring remained the same, in the other bake we had a really nice vanilla flavor that was popping, except this I can't really see that, and the texture is really light here. Quite frankly, I don't know if cake flour is well worth the hype, frankly, because compared to the other bakes such as the McDougal's, which we undertook, this doesn't do anything for me. I don't know. Maybe I feel a bit grumpy today. I don't know, but no. I'll give it some thumbs up for this texture. It is very light. I am not sure about the color. The structure is similar to the results we had from the McDougal's bake, which it was so light textured, the insides fell out from that bake. And I feel like we are having similar results, but I added leavening to this one. We had 2/3 of a teaspoonful of baking powder and half a teaspoonful of baking soda, and for some reason it's discolored completely. It's super yellow, even though the texture feels really light. I'm not sure what it will look like in 48 hours and whether it will make a hell of a difference. Okay, let me see if I can get a bit of the crust here. Let's see. Okay, that won't work. I'll probably need to get a knife and then we'll get into the crusts. I don't think I like the results very much. A good bake, yeah. But for 6 pounds per kilogram of cake flour, it should yield me some results. And I don't think this is exactly the result I was looking for. For this result, I will be happy to go to use the McDougall's brand of cake flour, as in self-raising flour, because I'm trying really hard here, believe me. I'm trying so hard to justify the expense of 6 pounds per kilogram, and the selling point being with less flour, the structure. Nah, I'm so sorry. Maybe I'm making a hasty judgment. But the taste I am getting is eerily similar to using the McDougall's brand of self-raising flour. And that is pretty straightforward. Great result, great texture, good color. Cake flour, nah. So if you're a baker, and you're looking to invest in cake flour, especially in the UK, you want to think twice, because for the results that I was hoping for, this doesn't do anything. But then, mind you, bleached cake flour is banned in the UK. So if you get the unbleached, I don't know if the unbleached has properties that are closer to self-raising flour here. I just don't know. I just don't find that the results are my best yet. The bake itself is great, but the color, because of the leavening we added, perhaps that's on me. Maybe I have added too much rising agent. I am not sure. I don't know how much I needed to add, because this was my very first bake using cake flour. So let's just say this is at its formative stages, but the bake itself is not bad. I am just like trying to think about what I could have done differently to get a better structured crumb. The crumb is still delicate, but I thought I was expecting more. I don't know. Is that me? So perhaps what I will do is I might leave the other bake, which is this one. I might leave it on the countertop for 48 hours. And I will derive some information from after it settles. And I'll leave that in the community post. I'm supposed to do that with my McDougall's cake that I baked. But I like the texture of this cake, as in on the outside. It springs at you nicely. Look, it is very soft. And even though it is still a hot cake, I've literally just taken it out of the oven. It's not falling apart on me. I don't know if that is supposed to be a good thing or a bad thing, but it's a fairly good bake. I am just not impressed by all the stuff that has happened here. Maybe if I used less leavening, would the color have remained the same? I don't know. But even if the color remained the same, what would the structure have been like? So you know what? Surprisingly, cake flour hasn't given me my best result yet. What do you think? It also doesn't have a very dry, crispy textured crust. I actually like it. I am not impressed. Not at all, not one bit. Not impressed with this cake flour. But like I said, had I baked with cake flour before and understood how much rising agent we needed to add and get it right, maybe my results would have been different. But at least having baked this, I am confident on the outcome enough to know that I'm not going to even bother with cake flour. And if I did, I would mix it with the self-raising flour, because those were the ones that gave me my very best result in terms of structure, flavor, and taste of the cake itself. But I'm going to have to wait 48 hours later, and then we can have a whole conversation about this. But in terms of bake time, check, correct. Rise, check, correct. Outside crust, tender. Structure of the cake, great. How delicate the crust is immediately after baking, great. Discoloration, question mark, because I want to find out. I suspect, looking at it, there was more rising agent in there, which is what has caused the discoloration. However, it's not enough that it affected the taste of the cake, because the aftertaste is that if you use too much rising agent in your cake, you end up with an aftertaste to the cake that is sort of cardboardy. I don't know how to explain it, but you would know if you added too much in there. It's not that much. You can still taste a fairly good cake with not the rising agent issue. But I am concerned that perhaps I added too much rising agent. I don't know. But if I were to reduce it, will the texture still be as it appears? That too, I don't know. So the price difference between that and the McDougall's self-raising flour, you're looking at about £4 per kilo. That's a lot. So I am not sure I want to be recommending this. But if you chance onto this video and you have other insights to inform us, look, I am no scientist. I have no idea what this is all about. What I do know is where I started and where I am at. And starting this series, I derived a few great bakes already. So this is sort of a shock to me. Had it collapsed, that would be different. But it has met the threshold and properties that we were expecting. I am just like very underwhelmed for the cost and what it is worth. It's like, so what's the fuss about cake flour about? But saying that, my best results have been derived, however, from a mixture of half and half, which is half of cake flour with high street brand of self-raising flour. So I probably would stick to that. I don't know. I just find that, yeah, this is really underwhelming. And it's not the best outcome for my overall assessment. However, we still derived a lightly textured crumb. I'll have to wait till 48 hours and see if this dries out, if this works or doesn't. So that's where we are at. If you have any insight, let me know. Our cupcakes are still baking, so we'll give it another 5 minutes. But whilst we're still there, let's catch up very quickly. For those of us bakers in the UK who cannot access cake flour easily, it comes at added cost to us. You either have to check on Amazon and order it, which is more expensive. So the secondary answer is it worth the investment? How does it work? Are we better off sticking with our homemade Yeah, way better sticking with our home self-raising flour, as in the self-raising flour that is very readily accessible in the UK. And we've tried one brand already, which is the McDougall cake self-raising flour. It advertises itself as pre-sifted to guarantee a lighter, delicate bake. So we tried that, and was it worth it? I would say yes, it was. But beside that, we thought, well, let's try the cake flour by itself and see if we can get similar results. And if you're just joining the chat, you'll find that I've been slightly underwhelmed by the results. There's discoloration because of maybe the use of excessive rising agent, but the taste is okay. The structure is still too light. I'll have to come back 48 hours after it's been left on a countertop to ascertain, 24 to 48 hours to ascertain when the crumb is settled, to tell whether it was worth it or not. But my immediate reaction is that I'm slightly underwhelmed by the result, and I don't know whether it's worth the investment. But I'm not going to knock it, because scientifically, there's definitely got to be a reason why less protein is less gluten for you, which will result in a better delicate bake for you. But either way, I have no idea what's happened here. This is my least pleasant experience using this type of flour, and I don't think I'll be recommending it. So we're going to check on our cupcakes now. Ooh, okay. Okay. Our cupcakes baked evenly. Wow. I'm pleasantly surprised by that. Okay. So obviously I overfilled these ones, so they came off slightly funny. But otherwise, look, we have evenly baked cupcakes here. Now that's me trying to crash my kitchen. We have evenly baked cupcakes here, and these are filled even too, except yeah, those ones were overfilled slightly, so we can see that they have flopped on the edges lip of the cupcake liners. But I'm not mad about it. What I'm going to do is it's 2:56, so you're only an hour ahead of us from check. So I'm going to just put the cupcakes on a tray. These are client cupcakes, by the way, and I only need about 18 of those, which I will be decorating with pastel colors. So yes, there's 18 of those I need, and then the rest. Okay, so let's make sure we're separating them nicely. And so yeah, I'm happy with my bakes. So all the bakes we undertook today have yielded us the results we were optimizing for, which is amazing. When cupcakes are finished baking and you don't take them out of their tray, as in the cupcake tin, they continue to bake. So I suppose what I'm going to do with this 6, these are the ones that are going to be kept for the house. We're going to check and see the crumb. That's a lightly textured cake. So can you see the difference? It's a similar recipe, by the way, except this is UK based self-raising flour mixed into plain flour. So can you see the difference? The texture. I like this better. But the same recipe was used for the cupcake. I'll leave the details in the description box. So when I say I have been underwhelmed by the cake flour, it's really like true.